So welcome to this Mindset Monday. Hope you're doing well. Hope you've had a good week and weekend, and I hope you have a great week ahead. So what I wanted to talk about today is disappointment and how you and your clients and we and our clients are potentially avoiding disappointment. And I wanted to try and dig into it a little bit because it can often hold people back from taking action or kind of justifying inaction. And when we understand this a little bit more, and I'll share a couple of really simple tips and tools that you can use to help with this, but then people can move through disappointment rather than getting stuck and kind of reducing what they attempt in life. And so hopefully this is useful. And I mean, one of the things that's helpful when we think about never trying is that you never have to experience failure. And failure is often perceived as a threat to our survival. And so when we experience these things, we literally link if I lose face or lose kind of respect in front of people, well, then I'm going to not have their approval. And not having approval is linked to me being linked to a tribe, which means I won't survive because I don't have the people around me. And so this is a deeply ingrained thing in our bodies, right? So when we perceive failure as this threat to survival, is it any wonder then that we move away from failure? We move away from disappointment or the feelings around failure. So we never try, right? So this is linked as well to comfort zone. And our bodies and brains want to keep us safe, certain, and the same as today. They do not want us to grow and expand. There's a yearning that we have to grow and expand, but we're definitely conditioned to stay within the comfort zone. And again, the fear is the next part that your body and brain again are going to play up and pay it and kind of trigger in you. For example, negative emotion and negative thoughts. And again, disappointment is one of these. If I'm afraid of those things on the way to growing and learning, well, then I'm going to be more likely to stay safe and alive. And that's going to increase my chance of survival. And that's going to keep me safe, certain, alive. Brain, yes. Body, yes. Stay there, don't grow. So again, we have to get used to these things. And I mean, I saw this in Chris Williamson's 3 Minute Mondays today, and it's in an age of anxiety and inaction. Many seek self-esteem not in their own abilities, but in others' failures. And so this has become almost like a celebrated thing. We celebrate other people's failures, or we at least just pile more shit on top of them rather than actually trying to do anything ourselves. And Gerwin does amazing stuff. It's actually meant to be spelled with an or at the end of it. But this is true. So again, we're so anxious about taking action because we want to stay safe and certain, and we don't do anything, then it's easier to point at other people and them messing up, which justifies us staying still and doing nothing. Again, think about the clients that you're coaching. They'll feel safer, certain, alive when they do nothing. It's easier to not act towards the future rather than act towards it and mess up because you know that you've been pointing at other people failing, and so will other people do that to you if you fail. So this leads to this cycle of cynicism. So let's say we get a response bottom left. That makes us feel more critical about ourselves, reaffirms the disappointment. We enter into this heart of discontentment, and this cycle just repeats. We get more cynical as we get more evidence of why we made the decision before not to take action because it's too hard when you do make a mistake. So it just feeds into this same kind of thing, and it's really difficult. And yet, some of this antidote is actually to grow a growth mindset. Fixed mindset is what I was born with is all I'm able to do, and I'll stay within this kind of safe, certain space. Growth mindset, on the other hand, is I can learn. Everything is an opportunity to grow. All of this is information. It's feedback, not failure. And so again, when we move from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset, we're better able to take failure as learning opportunity, feedback to continue to grow. And that's going to be really powerful. And I mean, I think that this is true, this quote here by George Carlin, which is, inside every cynical person is a disappointed idealist. We can all think about ways of making our lives, our relationships, and the world around us better. But when we try and we fail and we get disappointed, that's really difficult. And so we know that there's a better way. We know that there's a better way for us to be, for other people to be, and for the world around us to be. And so it's easier to be cynical and push that better away rather than actually take an action from today. And so the Winston Churchill quote again comes to mind: success consists of going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. Again, it's really difficult. It's difficult to do this, but this is the work. The work is to help clients, people that we're working with, go from failure to failure with a growth mindset. What did you learn? What did you try? What could you do differently next time? And it's also pay attention to the expectations that they have. Most people expect success to go from here to success straight away. They forget about the messy middle, the wiggle on the way. And so often we do one of two things. We'll set expectations low and underachieve because it feels more safe and certain, or we'll set expectations too high and we'll overachieve or think that we can overachieve and just be permanently disappointed. But we can say, oh, well, it was never going to be possible anyway. So that justifies my lack of success along the way. Right. So a couple of simple things that came from a Harvard Business Review article about disappointment and dealing with disappointment. One is just understand what happened. Again, get clarity of the reality of the situation that happened. Let's say your clients are trying to lose weight. Let's say your clients are trying to make changes in their life, whatever that is. What happened? What went wrong? Get an accurate kind of current state of what's happening. Then check your expectations. Were you expecting too much too quick, or were they in proper perspective? This is also reevaluate perceptions and behaviors. If you wanted to lose weight, for example, and your behaviors that you thought were going to work were you can eat a Mars bar every hour on the hour for a week, I mean, that's not useful. So again, our perception is very different from reality. And I mean, this rabbit versus duck is just a silly example of doing the same thing, but we must reevaluate our perceptions, or you could say expectations and behaviors then. So if we get clear on that and we understand what happened, well, then we can helpfully seek positive solutions instead of dwelling on the past. So instead of looking in the rearview mirror and only looking backwards, we can look at what did we learn, what did we try, what could we do differently next time, and look to the future with a positive outlook that it's more opportunity to learn, more opportunity to develop skills, more opportunity to meet new people that might be able to help along the way as well. And I mean, cows ruminate, which is from the French ruminaire, which is just to kind of chew the cud, just to go back over all the stuff that they've already eaten. And again, they don't, I mean, they digest this way, but what's more helpful is introspection, reflect on what went on, but a little bit more impartial. Ruminating is probably adding a little bit of negativity to the situation. That's not helpful. That's just continuing to kind of cycle around the past, rather than, again, introspection should always lead to a brighter future. So some of the questions I'd invite you to think about and check as you navigate client conversations as well, and anybody with your team or any of that kind of stuff. How can you cultivate and sustain hope in the other person and yourself, so that when disappointment does show up, because it will show up, you're able to move through it and accept that it's going to be part of the journey? And also this, what is worth doing even if it doesn't work out? Because again, if we have this expectation that when I achieve whatever the result is, then I'll be happy, then I'll be successful, then I'll whatever, and it doesn't work out, if I'm only ever focused on the outcome and not the journey, well, then I'm only ever going to be disappointed. Versus if I can actually make sure that there's something worth doing, like eating better, sleeping, good companionship with people around you, good fun, good energy, all that kind of stuff around you, the journey is going to be more useful, and you might even hit the outcomes, but you're not tied to it. You can't be disappointed by an outcome then. So what can you experiment with? What can you test? What can you try with your clients, with the people on your team, for yourself as well? How can you accept reality as it shows up? And how can you pay attention to these things so that you can more likely achieve success for yourself and other people, and be a positive impact that's going to increase the likelihood of hope along the way, and a better journey for you and for your clients as well. Hopefully useful, hopefully helpful. I wish you a great week ahead. Happy Mindset Monday.